Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 with Black Ice, slightly an older version. We are continuing the French Folies series. Now, in the last episode, you saw that I took the option to go to war with France over Czechoslovakia, and you saw a combination of scripted OOBs being put down at the start of the war, as well as modifiers for French defeatism that was incredibly harsh, so and made that entirely untenable. I disagree with both of those things. I think they're overdoing it. The French army did do the Saar offensive, came in, because, okay, the West Wall did not go along the French border, and sort of right in here, but in one of these places. Combination, it would have been a pocket, you know, surrounded on sides, and sort of some of the terrain, including, I think, Saar, or one of the, you know, I don't know, Saarloos, Saarbrücken, or whatever. One of these, the cities that, industrial cities that was right on the border, wasn't practical to defend. And, you know, you could put up defenses, but this city to a point isn't well within artillery, you know, range, so that they could just pound it. Now, I'm guessing here, this is that we are not at war with them, but since they're moving in, I guess going to war may remove this as a demobilized zone, or demilitarized, I should say, but at least they won't have fortifications there. But so when the Saar offensive, it did fairly well, was fairly limited, did not breach the West Wall, but did go into the German territories, and there was very little resistance. They did some, at least, photography. I don't know if they took any film of it, but, you know, photos of French troops occupying German, you know, streets. You know, the street names are up in German and whatnot. Adolf Hitler Platz or whatever the hell. And French soldiers marching by did that and sort of got scared by their success and retreated back, which was incredibly stupid to do. Now, it may have not made sense to pursue at that moment an offensive against the West Wall. I don't know, partially because no one tried it, and I don't know how well that particular element of the West Wall was defended and how good the French troops could have been put against it. But if you've gone into the territory, you should have kept at least light screening forces that had the ability to withdraw rapidly if attacked. That's what I would have done. Propaganda, continuing victory. But so, we're going to continue watching Germany's at war again with this Czechoslovakia, but okay, so we've healed our wounds, we reduced our disruption. And yes, on that last short playthrough, I had a couple more mobile divisions up here ready to go. Could have maybe blocked their first entry into region and held the Rhine, maybe. But no. Sorry about that. But that wouldn't have held with once those two modifiers had showed up of and so that just wouldn't have, doesn't matter ultimately, so long as the modifiers that were hurting our machine guns, heavy machine guns. Although we need trucks, we need those desperately, but we are well short of heavy machine guns. We are short of that too, but we're producing those fairly rapidly. We also need more trucks to keep motorized. To the best of my understanding, there were various units in the French army. Some very brave, some reasonably well led. That are reasonably well led. I say reasonably because it's maybe not so much a leadership problem, but a tactical mindset problem. And even when they were offensive, because there were some definitely, shall we say, cavalry units, whether they were guys and horses or just simply motorized infantry and what they called armored cars, but tanks, that were sort of offensively minded. They weren't well integrated as a combined arms force in training and in thought. So that's why I say reasonably well led. So there were some of those, and because some of these units were, shall we say, professional army units. They were volunteers. They were careerists in the French army. And then of course you had various reserve draftee type units that didn't want to fight. They weren't soldiers. They weren't soldierly mindset. They knew of the horrors of the last war and did not want to be involved in it. And so they may or may not have loved their country, but they, weren't willing to put too much effort into it. Now, when I was saying may or may not have loved their country, I had in mind that there were fascists and communists in French society that did not like, not just did not like the current government, but did not like the form of government. And this is one thing that I have problems with, and sometimes in America. And yes, I'm talking to you lefties out there, and there are some of you out there. Now, of course, there's many lefties out in Sweden who love their government because it's a left government, and they love their form of government. But I'm talking in America. They say, oh, I love America, but we just got to change everything about it. Stop racism. Yeah, racism is bad, but okay, but what are you talking about? Stop racism, we no longer have segregation, and people's feelings are going to be the way people's feelings are. Again, I don't like it, but what do you mean stop it? You mean put everyone who you think is a racist, put a big R on their chest, and you get to throw tomatoes at them as they walk around the street because you think they're a racist? God, I hate Nazis, so people were wandering around with swastikas on armbands. I'd hate those people too. People were putting on white sheets and marching around. I'd hate those people too. But I'm not going on some crusade against their existence, and they no longer are. You are not going to be elected to office if you are a Ku Klux Klan member, or a American Nazi member. At least not openly. If anybody finds out, you're out of office immediately. Goodbye, boom, gone. Okay? So stop racism. You hate that. Well, okay. You want to change just about every single, change the culture. Change this, change this, change that. You want to change everything about America, but you love America. What? You mean you love our natural resources? You love our geography? You don't love the people because you don't freaking like the people. Because right now, at least, white supremacy is, at least as I understand it, and I may have this incorrect, but as I understand it, is simply white people in office somewhere. Not anything else. Well, because they have had a 300-year head start. Huh? What? So, it's just, you claim to love America but want to change everything about America. And yeah, this is a little bit of a diatribe, and it isn't going anywhere beyond this, but still. So the idea of that, to me, is just, you're sort of, I don't know, propaganda. and you don't really love America. You just claim to love America. And I'm not talking about people who vote Democrat or Republican and want to change from one party or the other party. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who want to change the Constitution in big ways. And these are, and these aren't most of the people out there who vote. These aren't, the people who, who vote Democrat versus who vote Republican. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the lefties, the leftists. And some of them, some of them are Bernie Sanders, who is not currently a member of the Democratic Party, joined only to run for the presidency, left after he lost the presidency. He is a socialist. He does not love America. He wants to radically change America. So you have people like that, and that's who I'm talking about. Expand our new air bases. Okay, so we've expanded the air bases. Let's look back here. Where is expand? Haven't looked at this. Okay, expand new air bases. Okay, so we can do research, doctrine support, research fighter models. Those are nice. Naval construction programs. Grand battery. Now, see, we're still back in November 38, so we've got a little while, but not a whole lot. Time, 56 days, 56, okay. We could go with Britain. 42, French intervention. I'll just give it to the Japanese. That might be useful. Let's see, we can go with 42 days. Go with Britain. And so, and this is part of the follies of the French Follies, and this is sort of why I'm playing this series, is that France was very much politically a divided nation. You have, and I know I mentioned this, traditionalists who generally are, not all are monarchists, but some of them are monarchists, but they're various forms of traditionalists. And within France, some of the traditionalists are fairly liberal. Meaning they like the French Revolution and getting rid of the very corrupt elements of Louis XVI's government, and the idea that the biggest corrupt element is the nobles paid no taxes, basically. So if you were a noble, your land taxes or whatever, and it's been a while since I was in my history course for it, you didn't pay it, so this is why the tax got heavier and heavier burdens on the nobles, which were basically pushed down to the poorest of the people, because it affected the cost of things like food. Even if the poorest people weren't directly paying any tax, the cost of food and other things were being pushed on them, and part of that cost was the taxes on those people. So so you can talk about not the problem. You can talk about the problem of the concept of monarchies, but specifically the French monarchy had been making some very bad decisions, and this had been going on for some time. These bad decisions. So with that in mind, might as well go this a little bit faster. Okay, now let's look and see what... We just need more freaking rifles, so... And more artillery and more everything. Okay, we're not even building very many things. And I have to wonder, is it really this bad for the AI, or am I just being hit harder because I'm the humans and they would be getting bonuses, because this is awfully incredibly weak as a French army. So yeah, so the monarchy had made very bad things. So I understand why modern people sort of support the French Revolution. I have an incredibly hard time of it. Not that there was a revolution, but the extremes that they went to in chopping off children's heads just because they were the children of nobles. What did they ever do wrong? So, you know, those are some of the problems that just make me a okay. Sahara oil. Build heavy water. We're not doing building heavy water. Agricultural rearmament. Okay, so we can do this rearmament. That will be helpful, I think. Let's do that. So, so you have the traditionalists, like I say, some of them very much maybe in support of the French Revolution. You have those types of people in France. And so you got, but you also got the monarchists. Some are Bourbonists, some are Bonapartist. Okay, Spanish Civil War is over. And then, you know, you can have the left and the right, but in France you're getting a left and a right that is tearing the nation apart, which isn't unique to France, but it really, you know, it was tearing Britain apart as well. And they put thousands of people into, basically into prison in Britain once the war got started that were fascist types. Some of the fascist types truly did love Britain and wanted to fight the evil Nazis, but they just weren't trusted. So, you know, that's a very sort of real thing. So that's going on there too. But the country that I see of a major country after Spain, which obviously did go into civil war, I see France as a, and I may be wrong, and I'm going to look into this when I really get ready to mod someday French Folies. Just how close I would assess their going into civil war. Okay, Germany claims Memel, and because, you know, Paradox likes its focus trees with, you know, restore the Kaiser, communist revolt for revolution for Germany. What? In 36, you're insane. Okay. You know, if I was working for them, and I only vaguely know some of the people just, you know, in an online sense, sending messages back and forth at different times with some of the content developers and whatever. So I don't know what, you know, back and forth, and I don't know specifically what they're told. But if they told me to, okay, we'll come up with an alternative communist version of Germany, and you're paying me money to do so, I'm going to do so. Okay, you know, I don't hold it against, you know, doing so. And somebody at the business type has realized that, hey, there's a bunch of EU4 and Victoria and Crusader Kings type players that want to continue playing a game into the 20th century, and they just want to see what it's like to have communist Germany. Okay, cool. I get that. Now, if we were talking a game starting in 1932, ooh boy, I totally agree. It very well may go down to a communist revolt. And what would that look like? And that I could get just as a historical event mod. You know, if we were going to go down, and of course you got to sort of make it something like France, is that make most all of the economy non-responsive to anything warlike for Germany. So Germany isn't like starting in 33 or 32 building up its war machine. No, it's just trying to see, is it going to go communist? Is it going to go Nazi? Is it going to go back to the Kaiser? Is it going to stay a liberal democracy? You know, it becomes a political game, which I think it would be really cool. I don't know if most of the people want to play it that way, but it could be a really cool game. And then from there, if say in the elections in 32, 33 go communist, or if enough of it goes communist and there's a revolt and there's a civil war between the Nazis and the communists win, what would everything be like from there? I'm happy as a historical person to look at the what ifs at that point, but not in 36. See, that's some of the things. But see, I'm thinking in 36 to 38. Again, I don't know in detail, but with especially if you had seen a communist victory in Spain, I could then see something going like that in France. Okay, so we've got some better fortifications here. No. I think what we'll also do here is build a few truck factories. I don't know how well they will do for us, but they will build a lot faster than additional. Factories, okay. Slow this down just a little bit again, since we're already at 39. Now, well, let's... Okay, so we're catching up with those vehicles. Good. Okay, we've got enough artillery trucks. So, yeah, artillery trucks are just producing one, so we want to continue producing those. Well, let's look at reconnaissance equipment here. I'm quite honestly loath to shut down some factories completely, or production lines, I should say, completely. Well, we still need more recon equipment. We don't even have enough. We need more support equipment. We'll probably catch up on that. Cavalry equipment. Let's look at that. Don't know if they mean. I think they mean the swords and that kind of thing. Posted toad. Is it down here at the bottom? Yes. Okay, let's cancel that. Like I say, I'm loath to shut them down, but oh well. I'd really like to expand to more divisions. I think HQ equipment is maybe another thing we can shut down. No, I don't think it is HQ radios, it's this one. Okay. So, motorcycles reconnaissance. Yeah. I would really, if we're going to have, and I'm for it, don't think I'm complaining, but if we're going to have so many different equipment types, I think we need to increase or decrease how much each well, you know, because how do you use half a steel? I don't know, because I would just, for something like motorcycles, I'd just like to keep, you know, a minimum factory in operation, but maybe not. I don't know. Well, let's look some more here. So I want to shift to building some more, building more fighters. I want to build some heavier tanks. And we can do HQ radios too, I think. We'll stop that. Let's stop HQ radios. These are things that maybe we should just build in bursts. But see, it's not so effective. It's much more effective just to keep that production line in running. Okay. So we're going to... Yeah, we're going to do one of each. A Selma and a Sharpie, just so we have some of those in production. And here, light bombers. Well, we have very few bombers in production. Let's add fighter to each. Those types. What new equipment? Oh, submachine guns. I don't know, do we need any of those? Okay, so, well, these are all the same image, so I can't really hardly go off images. Don't need heavy bombers. Let's go off of these guys here, there. A little cheaper to build. Let's get those starting to build. Okay, we need some oil now. Well, don't want to do it because in French Indochina, I'm just giving eventually that to the Japanese. At least that's how I view it. The way this system works. That's why I really don't like this, because I would rather just have this stuff coming straight into me. Now, let's see, can I improve this to early mobilization? I could, I just don't have enough world tension enough. So that's what I want to do, is do either early or partial mobilization. But we're not going to modify the French government that way. And we're now in 39, so we can now get this going here. Here we go. Okay, so we can now improve that which we just done, but we're going to come over here. Get those going. And we're going to switch to different heavy machine guns. Well, this is a different one. Germany having all of Czechoslovakia. All except for this little bit here that Hungary got. Okay, computing machine. That will help with all the research. Okay, well, since we're not going to be doing a 38 invasion of Germany, and I don't even know if we're going to try to push against Poland, or while Poland still exists. Well, 39, so if we can do that. That'll be better. Are we producing any anti-tank units? I hope. Equipment. Yeah, there we are. Well, I think we're only doing one of those, so that's fine. Okay, rearmament focus has completed. Now let's look here. Defense National Funds. Base Unity unlocks focus. Partial political Felix God. Military complex nationalization. Ooh, that's nice. 56, 49. Let's do that. That will help on our production abilities. Now we're producing more, good. Oh, good, and that got us to early mobilization without having to spend, well, it did sort of cost us some. And that's going to happen fairly quick. Let's those there, and okay, we're now in 39, so we can do let's try a better fighter model. Over here. How are we doing on reserves for rifles and our infantry equipment? So 7,000, damn, but I'm gonna put it add 2 units to this.
Fine.
How are we doing with mountain warfare equipment? Okay, we've got a positive on that, so we're going to also stop that. I don't like doing this, but I need just basic rifles. Okay, vehicle factory level 1 reached. Good. No, this is in the way, I guess. Radically cut down the cost. Belgium, I plan on invading your country, but only with your permission, so you don't have to guard your border against me. Now, let's also see about over here adding. Well, we got this one guy, so drop him in there.
Arrêt. Bougez-vous.
We have Alpine Forts 56 days, but needs to have National Defense Fund, so that's what we should be doing next then. So I would like to get extended Maginot Line. Don't know if we'll have time for that, so this will be next though. Those will help a bit. Molotov Ribbentrop Pact, so the war may be breaking out very soon here. Guess it didn't have to wait to get the rest of Czechoslovakia.
Écoutez. Aux ordres.
Better have him under the command. Okay, prescribed communism. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Bans communism. Cabinet has decreed the dissolution of the Parti Communiste Français ever since the Soviet Russia signed the non-aggression pact with Germany. They are now allied with our enemies, the Nazis. And it really was the Communist-Nazi alliance that allowed the start of World War II the way it did. Germany would never have declared war against Poland had they thought the Soviets might intervene against and go to war against Germany. Oh good, we're getting some British reinforcements. Nice of you. More infantry equipment, though we're building more than we would have need added, but still. Okay, factory tank level 5 reach, great, that will really help, and small arms 4 reach, great, that will really help. Okay, well we're going to take this opportunity to end the episode here. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. I really do appreciate that. And please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas, corrections. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.